Hey folks, this is CNB. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. Welcome to a new show. We promised you last week a whole lot more action from the Geneva Motor Show. Well, the 2013 edition has been fairly packed with a whole lot that we still have to show you. So let's duck straight back into the Palexpo now for a lot more from the show.
The VW Group's big showstopper may well have been the hot Lamborghini Veneno, but there were other gems worth our time too.
Anyone who thought that a station wagon is not sexy, anyone who says that they're boring cars, should be run over by this car.
The Audi RS6, available only in its Avant or station wagon form, has to be the first mention. 0 to 100 in less than 4 seconds and a top speed of just under 310 kmph. The new generation of the RS6 has the 4-litre V8 unit from the S6, S7 and S8, but it produces 552 bhp. Awesome! Audi also showed the e-tron electric avatar of the A3 Sportback, the new RS5 DTM motorsport car and the 310 bhp RS-Q3. Bentley debuted its new generation Flying Spur. The car drops out of the Continental family now to create its own model line. More luxurious and with a greater focus on the backseat passenger than ever before, the Flying Spur is Bentley's fastest four-door yet, with a 6-litre W12 engine making 616 bhp. Skoda's new Octavia has us hooked with sleek lines and a smarter package.
The new Octavia in its third generation looks very sharp. It's the kind of design language that we've seen with that Vision D concept, which became the European Rapid. You've seen all of that on the show, but what I have to quickly point out is that it's a nice, simple theme that seems to have been carried through. Remember all that talk about Bohemian Crystal and straight lines, as well as the new front grille and the new simplified Skoda logo. All of that reflects beautifully, and in fact I think it's perhaps the best iteration of that design as of now that we've seen. It's called the A7 internally, and I really like the way the sharp lines have been carried through, not just in the headlamp cluster but along the side as far as the metal goes, and even in the roof line you see a lot of sharp edges, and of course that continues into the back where, like the Indian Rapid 2, you get to see this little bit of a diamond cut here, which has now become somewhat of a signature for Skoda. The updated Superb will carry similar design language. That's a facelift, which should be coming to us by about, the second half of this year.
Volkswagen took the covers off the Golf GTI and the fuel-efficient XL1, which will be produced in small numbers for starters. The car's USP is that it achieves 100 kilometers for 1 litre of diesel.
I'm interested in the Indian market, so we are looking very intensively to the Indian market because we have our plant in Pune, and we are very interested that the plant is filled quite well with our products. So the Indian market is going up, is going down, is very complicated depending on the different countries in India. And I think yes, we are working out programs where we can understand this market maybe better than we have done it in the past, so that the potential which is in the Indian market can be used by our company in an improved way in the future.
This is where we also got the chance to meet the world record holder, Felix Baumgartner.
Not very often you meet someone who is known for breaking not just any record, but for doing something that no other human being has done. Mr. Baumgartner, it's a pleasure. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you very much for having me on your show.
I want to start by asking you, I think, what the whole world asked you, I think, to describe for us in a few words that one moment when you finally achieved, I think, what you'd been working towards for several years.
That means as soon as I landed.
Or when you knew you had finally done it, when you achieved the speed.
Well, I had a lot of pressure the last 5 years, because if you work on something so difficult and so outstanding and breathtaking, it is really difficult because nobody really trusts you. Nobody believed that you can do it. And many times I had some very quiet moments where you sit there all by yourself and you think about, is it really possible? Am I the right person to do this or not? And we had a lot of up and downs. We dropped the ball many times, but we picked it up again. And finally, it came to a complete mission, you know. And I was so happy at that moment when I landed, you know. At that moment, I still didn't know if I broke the speed of sound or not. But at least I survived because my mom was there, my girlfriend was there, and you do not want to die in front of your mom and your girlfriend. That also was a lot of pressure. And of course, you know the whole world is watching. And I think there's not many people out there who know how it feels if you are observed by pretty much half of the world, you know. It's probably the Pope or the President of the United States. And I had the same impression. But believe me, when I landed and I was still alive, I really enjoyed that moment because I was working so hard.
Just like the whole world, once again, we want to congratulate you for that moment. But I heard you saying something earlier this evening, which was really interesting. And perhaps all of us, you know, we don't think of it that way. When you were standing at that moment, 39,000 meters up above the earth, you said it was a very lonely place. Describe that for us, because you know, this is one thing to simulate it, it's another thing to even practice and work towards it and train for it. But when the moment finally arrives, what goes through your mind just before you take the plunge?
You're absolutely right, because we have been practicing a lot, you know. I was in the capsule many times, you know, so we practiced everything. And then you take this whole system and you put it up in the air at 39,000 meters, but it's not the same, you know. It totally feels different because if something happens on the ground, you are surrounded by a lot of people, so they immediately take action and rescue you if something goes wrong. Up there at 39,000 meters, there's nobody there. You're all by yourself. You have to rely on everything comes down to your skills, to your proper training, and to your team on the ground, but they cannot help you. And then when you finally climb outside the capsule, it's such a peaceful moment because you can see the curve of the earth. You know, if you look up, you can see that the sky was totally black. And I've never seen black sky before. But at the same moment, you also realize that you're the only person in the world who has the privilege to be there. Nobody else has done this before. But then you have to hurry up because as soon as I disconnect from the onboard oxygen, I'm only sucking oxygen out of my bottles, you know, and those bottles, they only provide 10 minutes of oxygen, so I better hurry up. But I had my 10, 15 seconds to inhale that moment.
Staying German now, it's the BMW Group which had the ultimate showstopper at its Rolls-Royce brand, the all-new Wraith. The car has a 6.6-litre twin-turbo V12 engine which makes 624 bhp. But more than the engine, it's the interiors and the level of opulent luxury that the Wraith achieves, which is stunning.
Well, we've got this lovely design feature called Canadel panelling, and I'll come back to the word Canadel in a moment. But we've executed this wonderful sweep of open grain contemporary veneer that works from the door panel, from the coach door panel, right the way around the interior compartment. The interior takes 4 people. It's a 4-seater. It's not a 2+2. We take 4 people with superb amount of comfort. But encircling those 4 people is this lovely wooden veneer statement. We call this Canadel because Sir Henry Royce, during his latter years of his career, suffered from an arthritic illness, and he would winter in the south coast of France with the warmer climates, and he would actually visit a house with a studio on the south coast, a little fishing village called Canadel. And looking out of his window, of his studio window, was this lovely cove in a beautiful little horseshoe U-shape. And we've named this Canadel panelling because it just evokes that lovely heritage element which connects with Sir Henry Royce's design team and him himself. But if you can maybe see it, it's this lovely, clean, contemporary surface of veneer. It's the largest automotive pressing of veneer in the world, in the industry. And it actually is open pour. We visit the Milan Furniture Fair. We want to bring a contemporary statement into Wraith. This lovely, clean architectural statement on the exterior is reflected on the interior. Very clean, large surfaces, which allow materials like this open grain veneer, American walnut, palisander, new veneers for Rolls-Royce that don't appear in Ghost, to really be open to the customer to enjoy and feel them, touch them.
The Wraith will open up a new model line for the company, and so, yes, we're definitely not calling this one a Ghost Coupe.
It's a new model from Rolls-Royce. Saying that in itself is rare because that's how rare it is. A new model from a company like this. Look at the crowd here. Everybody wants to come in and take a look at the new Wraith. Take a look at its flowing roofline. Take a look at its exquisite Canadell wood interior, something very new in the automotive world. And you know what? At the end of the day, all of that is wonderful, but I can tell you, it's also the most powerful Rolls-Royce yet, and so I can't wait to drive it.
We are highly exclusive, and we are by intention highly exclusive also with our prices, because we think that we have the best cars on the world, and Rolls-Royce is the best car on the world. And you get also substantial content when you buy a Rolls-Royce. It takes far beyond 600 hours to build a Rolls-Royce. And when you look into the materials we are using, finest materials, and also when you look into the quality we built, out of all ever built Rolls-Royces in the history of that brand, there are still 75% are still on the road. And that also gives you an indication how, let's say, solid and what kind of good investment a Rolls-Royce is.
BMW, for its part, debuted the much-anticipated 3 Series Gran Turismo. It's longer, taller, and all-round bigger than the 3 Series sedan. It also has a wheelbase that's 110 millimeters longer than that car. No plans for India as yet, though the car looks like a more practical GT body style and a more attractive one too than the 5 Series GT.
The fact that the GT version of the 3 Series has been hatched here at Geneva is not a surprise, because we knew this car was coming, and the surprise perhaps is in the fact that they got all the proportions right. Up front, it very much looks contemporary and looks like the 3 Series family, more distinctly perhaps than you saw on the 5 Series GT. And of course, the real trick of it all is in the back, because that's where you see the new rear end on this car. And this is where I think they've got it right in terms of proportion, in terms of appeal, in terms of size, in terms of space. All of that looks pretty smart, looks pretty sharp, and doesn't look heavy, doesn't look incongruous like the GT version of the 5 Series did. So it's this particular line that comes down here. It looks, you know, really well proportioned, almost like this is what the car was supposed to look like in the first place. And that tells you that this isn't an afterthought. When they went into the new generation of the 3 Series, you always had a GT in that plan.
Mercedes-Benz showed off its all-new CLA, looking very hot and offering a new entry model to the range. Yes, we expect the CLA to follow the A-Class into India at a sub 20 lakh rupee price point by the end of 2014. Mercedes-Benz also took the wraps off its facelifted E-Class family at the show, and boy, all we can say is, wow! The car looks contemporary, exciting, sexy, and very sporty. Can't wait for this one to show up. Volvo has updated its range as well. The XC60 has the most tweaking, with a more sophisticated look rather than sporty. Changes in styling are also obvious on the S60, with new headlamps and a front grille with a larger Volvo logo.
And so the company doesn't want this to become a long drawn-out affair, one that takes very long to come through, one that takes very long for those products to start rolling out, which are locally made or locally assembled. And so the idea is to move away from a greenfield plant idea and onto a CKD operation that's quicker to implement, perhaps with not as great an investment. What am I talking about? Very clearly, speaking to certain entities within India who already have a plant or already have a certain amount of infrastructure, just a little bit of tooling, and you know, off we go. You could get all these cars rolling out of India, priced a lot more competitively, and also a wider portfolio as a result. Now that's something that I'm certainly getting pretty excited about, because I can tell you, spoke to some people here from the company, and the indication very strongly is the likely partner, AB Volvo, the guys who make the trucks and buses in India.
Isn't that interesting? And look what else we came across. No, stop. We're not going to talk about this car anymore from any global motor show. It's just high time we got the car into the Indian market now. Nissan debuted the new Note and said it's getting its act together on the service and dealer network side in India.
Perhaps the criticism needs to be reflected back on Nissan. Did we support Hoover enough? And I would argue, no, we didn't. And I would say that the collaboration with Hoover is now much stronger. We had a dealer conference only less than a week ago, I think, in terms of explaining to the dealers how we're going to work, what we expect from them, what the new models are that are coming, reiterating what the brand stands for, and again reiterating this: we're in this for the long term. This is not a short-term investment. This is not like playing Russian roulette. It's absolutely. This is about investing for the long term. And when you invest for the long term, what you then you access is 80 years of history of Nissan and all of the 64 access to the 64 products of portfolio. So as you said, this is not planned to come to India today, but why not in the future? It's a V platform. It's the basis of the platform in India. So we have the ability to bring these things as the network matures, as our relationship with the dealer matures, as our relationship with Hoover matures, and frankly, in the other direction, as we learn the best way of interacting with what is, with respect, an extraordinarily complex market.
Nissan and Renault boss Qoros met us after debuting the new Renault Captur, a cool little compact crossover.
The Captur started as an SUV concept a few years ago, and now we get to see the production avatar. It's quirky, you've got lots of different color combinations, you've got a lot of youthful, fun sort of elements that you can play around with, so it's customizable to that extent. That is the kind of market everybody wants to go after, isn't it? More youthful cars. The face is certainly a lot more dynamic and modern than what you used to see from Renault. It's like the new Clio that we showed you at Paris. Now, all of this, you might think, is a little bit irrelevant for our market, but the good news is that a segment like this, it's somewhat like the segment being addressed by the Duster, definitely what the EcoSport addresses, and you got more products like the Chevrolet Trax coming to us as well. It's this space, the Nissan Qashqai plays in the same space here in Europe. And more and more buyers want something like this. They don't really want a bulky SUV. They also don't really want a boring old hatch. They want something which offers more than just that. And that's where I think even in our market, the good news is, if not right away, at least in the future, we will get to see more products like this. And you know what? You might want to actually measure that, but as long as it stays below 170 millimeters, it doesn't even qualify as an SUV, and so the finance minister will be happy, and perhaps something like this gets productionized. Pricing will be not so bad.
You have a lot of products coming, both from Renault and from Nissan, exactly. And again, we are on the offensive in India, so we're far from having laid out all our strategy. We believe in the potential of the country on the market. As you know, we believe not only as a potential, as a sales potential, but as a learning potential. And by the way, the latest platform that we are developing at the level of the Alliance is really based in India. It is the sub-entry platform. More to come in the last months of the year 2013.
Suzuki has a new updated SX4 hatch crossover, which is in the same league as the Captur. Expect some of this styling to carry through to the sedan when it upgrades soon too, but no plans for the crossover for India, sadly.
So as far as products go, all the attention may be on the showstoppers from Rolls-Royce, from Ferrari, from Porsche, but there is one brand that's getting a lot of attention from the journalists that are coming to the Geneva show this year. It's up there on the Great Wall. Qoros, unknown entity. A lot of this attention is general curiosity. Every time there's a new brand, that does happen. But you know what, it goes beyond that. There's also a certain level of sophistication we're seeing for the first time in terms of design, in terms of just overall build quality, fit and finish, shut lines. That's the interesting part of the story here, and even in terms of interiors, the way that the car feels, materials used, well, a lot of interest, a lot of intrigue, and a lot of attention.
Qoros has become an intriguing new player. It's a joint venture between China's Chery Automobiles and Israel Corporation, and plans to release more body styles of the three soon. India is on the company's radar only by the end of the decade.
That's pretty much a wrap on this week's program. You got to send me your feedback. You know how to do that. ndtv.com/Siddharth. And all through the show, you may have wondered where I am by the seaside. Well, you know what? I'm not going to let you into this for at least another couple of weeks. That's when you'll find out why I'm here and what exactly I'm trying to do here. But I'll leave you with that suspense. We'll, of course, have a lot more for you on the show next week as well. Please wear your seatbelts. Please wear your helmets. Bye-bye.